Good afternoon, happy stampers. Let me straighten this out. You guys, I'm crooked here. So, I'd like to welcome you to our live viewing on Facebook and on YouTube. My name is Judi Anderson, and I'm an independent demonstrator in the US. And I'd like to welcome you back to Happy Stamping Studios, where I hope to inspire you to be unique in your everyday stamping and paper crafting. Diane and I collaborate each week and we do lives on each other's Facebook pages, and you will also find me on my YouTube channel. So if you're watching on YouTube, welcome. If you're watching on Facebook Live, hello. Make sure you give thumbs up and hearts when you're liking what I'm bringing you. And be sure to share this video with your friends. That is the greatest compliment you can give us when you're watching our lives. So hang on just a second. I noticed I did not turn off my overhead lights, which would cause shadows. So this week we are continuing to bring you projects with products that are retiring in May or in April. So our new catalog starts in May, and you should be getting those catalogs soon from either Diane or myself, or picking them up. I'm hoping that you guys enjoy the new catalog. It's exciting. I am thrilled with it. It is so bright and happy. So make sure you comment as you come on. I am just adjusting things just a little bit here to see, make sure I'm on live, which I am. So that is good. So be sure to say hello. Put your name in caps so you stand out and I see you. I am streaming on StreamYard, so you do need to give them permission for your comment to show up so I can see it on my StreamYard stream. So I am bringing you hopefully 2 projects today. I'm hoping I've got them ready. I just want to make sure I have time to bring both of them to you. And I am using the Dressed to Impress stamp set. And I have loved this stamp set while it was available, and am sad to see it go because I love making cards for my girlfriends with this stamp set. So I'm going to flip you around and we are going to get started. So give me a second. Let me flip this. And hopefully this will be seamless. There we go. It looks like I need to move things over a little bit. I have kind of changed things around a little bit here. So the Dressed to Impress stamp set, and it has some coordinating dies with it, which makes a little box. And then you have dies for the shoe and the perfume bottle and lipstick and the flowers. And we're going to be using quite a few of those today, along with the stamp set. Oops, it's all stuck together. And this stamp set has not only the images, but it has some wonderful verses in here that are great for everyday life and to send to those girlfriends that you are trying to impress, right? No. So, hello, Diane. How are you? So we are going to get started here, and I'm going to start with my first card. And I have already die cut some things, and a couple of the other products that I'm using in this card that are retiring are the Stitch So Sweetly dies. I use these dies all the time. I am so sad to see these go, but they will remain in my stash of stamping things. So my card base is just 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So it's your standard card base. And we're going to burnish that fold there. I have a piece of basic gray, basic gray that I am going to be putting on here. And then I have chosen this pink, sorry. I think there's a lot of pollen in the air today. It's been nice lately. So this is like a sweater knit, and I just love it to add texture and interest to my projects. We're going to be layering that on top of here. And then here is our Stitch So Sweetly die. And this is where I'm going to do some of my stamping. I also have the pre-cut my dies to hopefully make everything go a little bit quicker today. I need to pull out my one stamp though. I was thinking that I was using the other flower on this. Let me grab my block. Oh, I hope this doesn't go on during the whole live. So the block is a little bit big, but that's okay. I'm going to be stamping in basic gray. I don't want to stamp in black on this one. And I'm going to begin with getting my paper mat to stamp on. Otherwise, I get ink all over. So we're going to move all this stuff out of the way and let me get my mat down. There we go. So we're going to start by stamping our perfume bottle. And since this is a photopolymer stamp, I can see through this and line it up. Excuse my head if it's in the camera view, but I need to get over the top of this and press firmly. Make sure I get everything on there. There we go. Now I am going to color this bottle with the little background stamp that is included. And the color of this paper is the petal pink. So I'm just going to take this and go over the bottom right like this and stamp that on there, and it's going to give that touch of color. Lay that to the side. Then I'm going to grab my flowers and I'm going to stamp them on here. I'm just checking to make sure I am still in the camera view. There we go. Now I am going to do some coloring on this with some Stampin' Blend. I want to use my dark seafoam for the leaves, and it's just very lightly. Oh, I should be using the other side because this tip is getting worn. And then I'm going to grab my dark petal pink, and we're just going to color these flowers in very quickly. Okay, now I colored it completely with the dark. I'm going to come in with the light, and I'm going to be coloring some areas with the light, and as it dries, it will lighten up. So just a couple of the petals, and I think just a couple of the tips here. You could also use your color lifter for this. Okay, we're going to set that aside. We have some stamping to do on our background paper. So I am going to grab the single flower, and I am just going to, using my basic black, I am going to stamp these all over the background, making sure I go off the edge so that I don't have that angel card which has a halo around the outside. And I'm just going to keep flipping it around. Now we are covering up a majority of the center, but I want to stamp in the center also, so that I'm going to flip this around this way so they're not all going the same way. I want to make sure that if even a partial image is shown, that, let me do this one this way, it's not a big blank spot. Okay, so we've stamped that and it's drying. Okay, so I am going to choose a verse, and I think I'm going to do oh, kindness is always in style on this one. Oops, I took my stamp set out. Just because I'm going to use the Hello Fabulous in the other one. So we are going to stamp this in the upper left quadrant of our piece, our dyed piece here. And I got some ink on here, and I don't want that to transfer to my cardstock, so I just wipe that off real quick. Hey, Christine, how are you? and Patricia. Okay, I'm going to do this down here just a little bit. Okay, so we're going to start putting this card together. Like I said, this is a very simple card, but I wanted to show you a couple cards using this. So I am also using our Petal Pink ribbon. And it looks peachier when it's off of this, but it matches perfectly once we get this on here. I'm going to grab my liquid glue and I'm going to adhere this to my basic gray. There's so many stamp sets and products on that retired list, but you know what? As demonstrators, we got to see the new catalog already, and my pre-order is due to arrive today. So I may be doing an unboxing video tonight. So be sure to watch out for that. Okay, I'm just going to take this, I'm going to cut a strip off to just lay across there. And let me grab my tear and tape here. I may end up putting a bow also on here. I'm not too sure. Grab a couple pieces here so I can attach this. You know, I know a lot of you say that you use Scotch tape, but you know what? Use your tear and tape because it's a double duty. It helps hold your base piece down. Let's get this. Oh, I want it down just a little bit lower. As well as hold that ribbon in place. I'm just going to put that right over there. And this one here. So tell me, what is the one stamp set that you are sad to see go? Let me know. You know, when Stampin' Up! Retires product, they always bring better product out. And I find that a lot of times it coordinates with product that I already have, so it's very economical. And I just realized I didn't put any glue anywhere except for that tear and tape. So that's okay. We are just going to put it on our basic gray. How many of you shouting to me, Judy, you didn't put any glue on there, any adhesive? Let's get that there. And we'll lift this part up and put some on there. Oh, got crooked. Okay, let's lift it. Yeah, I could have probably left it. And that tear and tape stuck, but that's okay. It'll stick again. Just move this over just a little bit, just a smidge. Okay. So we're going to put this on, and we're going to put it at a little bit of an angle. You're going to find that both my cards today have angles on them. And I am not going to use dimensionals on this piece because I'm going to use dimensionals on my embellishments. So I don't want it too thick. Okay. See how gorgeous those roses look? And it gives a different look to that background. So as you see how that has come out. Okay. I am going to grab my Wink of Stella, and I want to add a little bit of bling and shimmer to this perfume bottle. So like it's glass. And you know, our girlfriends all love bling. So we are going to be putting this right on here like that. Let that dry for just a second. I'm going to grab my dimensionals. So like I said, this set is great for baby showers. My hands are sticky, so I'm going to use my take your pick tool to adhere these. And little favors at a girlfriend party, a bachelorette party, a little girl's dress-up themed birthday party. How adorable would that be? Unfortunately, my one granddaughter that lives close to us isn't a frilly girl. Okay, add that there. And I'm going to put some dimensionals on this one. And she is not a pink girl either. Her favorite color is teal. It used to be green, and teal is still, she says, tells me, well, it's green with blue in it, Grandma. So we kind of laugh, but you could change the colors. You know, this card would be awesome in any color. I could do it in Coastal Cabana for her. We're going to place this one right here, and I am actually going to stamp one up in that upper corner. I just think that that corner is a little bit bare. So let's stamp one up there. I could have cut out another flower, but I didn't. So let's grab our Stampin' Blends again and just color those in. See how much better that colors in with that? This time I'm going to start with my light just because it's handy. I'll color the center with the light and a couple of the petals on the outside, and then I'll come in with my dark and add that. And just like that. Then I have our classic matte dots, and these come in the black, the vanilla, and the white, and the gray. And we're going to add some of those on here. See how quickly this card comes together. We'll add one down here. We're probably going to add 5 of them on this card. I'm going to grab another one, big one up here, and a little one down here, just so your eye moves around. So I have 2 triangles. I have my triangle down here, and my triangle up there. And that is all that is to that card. And this one, my ribbon's kind of coming out a little bit. I am going to go ahead and stamp a flower on the inside. However, you do not want to use your blends. So in the inside, I'm actually going to just stamp a pink flower. And I will finish off the inside later. So there is your first card using that. And who would have thought of using that on a card like this and stamping? I have made some baby cards with that. Okay, so we're going to be using the same products, the same ink pads, same stamp set, and the same papers. We're going to add a little bit more to this one. I did add a piece of our silver foil from the Waves foil papers, but they are sold out in the US, so this is no longer available. But I was using it because it would be retiring at the end of the month also. Okay, we have quite a few pieces for this one. I have my card base, which is the same, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So, oh my gosh, hello, Pat from St. Louis, Missouri. Oh, Chris, I think it's you that froze up. Oh, and Marilyn is sad to see the New Horizons Designer Series paper. I know so many are upset that that is leaving us. Okay, so with this, I have some layers here. I am going to start with my basic white. And I just have a scrap, and we're going to make a frame. Okay, I wanted to do a frame, like a mirror frame. So we're going to line that up, and I took the second largest stitched rectangles, and then I went down 2 more, so I'd have a bigger frame on here. And these are leaving us 2, as well as the layering circles. What are we going to do without all our shapes? Okay, I'm going to hold that there. Let's put this across there with some Post-it note, because we want those to stay put. We don't want those moved. So we're going to run those through our big cutting machine. I'm going to pull that in, and that's why I'm a little bit farther today. So you guys, when I use my cutting machines, I need to be up a little bit. And I am using for this, I am using plate number 1, plate number 2, and then 2 of the plate number 3. So we're going to layer that with one of the clear plates and put that right on there. We are going to put our paper, and you guys all know I always do it as an angle. I never go straight on because it's less resistant, number 1, and number 2, your dies aren't going to warp as much if you put them in an angle. And I know my paper is extending beyond it near the bottom. Oh, and I am going to bump into it a little bit. Make sure I'm all the way through, and then I'm going to come back again. So, okay, I'm looking here. Did you guys notice I put my plates on backwards? How many of you noticed that? Oh my gosh. Oh, Pat, you finally got a granddaughter. Congratulations. So we need to do this step. You know what? It made a frame, but it's not the frame I want. So we're going to do that again. Turn it around so your cutting blade, your cutting edge is at the bottom. Don't do it at the top like I just did. Okay. See if I can reuse these Post-it notes. I don't know if I'm going to be able to or not. Hold that on there. Oh my gosh, I should have noticed it when I started going through, and I didn't. Oh, but you know, it always happens on our Facebook lives. It wouldn't be interesting if it didn't happen, right? And besides, it's just another opportunity for me to run it through again and show you. So I'm putting this back on there again, and let's run it through really quick. Going in past and then back again because I don't want to ruin that edge of that paper. I could have cut my paper shorter, but I don't worry about that. So let's see what we have this time. We have our frame, and that's what I wanted. I'll put those to the side. Now, I don't want a plain frame. Okay, I'm rhyming today. So we're going to be using a couple of embossing folders, a Parisian Flourish, which is also retiring. And this is such a beautiful embossing folder. It's a 3D, so you get lots of depth with it. We're going to change our plates. We're going to use our number 1, and we're going to use our gray embossing plate for 3D. Pull this back in, and we're going to run it through. If you put that bottom plate in, it will not go through, and don't force it. And you notice that I put my crease in first and wait till you see this. Look at that gorgeous, gorgeous frame we just made. Isn't that pretty? I love that. While we have our embossing folder out, I'm going to take our Designer Series paper and our Tasteful Textile, which is another one of my favorites. You know, this just adds a little bit more texture to our Designer Series paper, and we're just going to run that through. Okay, I think I am done with my cut and emboss machine. I said that, now I'm going to probably need it for something else. And let's get this off of there. Now you can tell on the back side the texture. You can tell on the front because when you look at it, it kind of makes it look a little bit blurryish. You can't tell real good on here. Now, I am going to take my paper snips. I'm going to open them up, and I want to fray the edges a little bit. I don't want this to be as perfect. Okay, and you're probably going to want to know what size I cut this at. This is cut at 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And it's okay if you cut this a little bit. That's the look I want. I don't want it to be perfect. So we're just going to rough that up. And, you know, this is good if your cutting blade is wore out and you get those frayed edges. This is another good solution to that. Instead of having to recut, just, you know, go with the flow. I'm going to go backwards on this one up here. I didn't quite get the edge. Now we're not going to see all these edges, but I just want to make sure those edges that we do see, and I don't mind it tore a little bit. Okay. And just keep doing it until you get the look you want. Now you could also sponge a little bit of the edges if you wanted, but I don't want, on this one, I want it primarily white and petal pink. Okay, so we've got that. We have our mirror per se, and that's going to fit back here. So we're going to form our own mirror on here. And I want to do the writing on here. So are the verse, and I want to do Hello Fabulous. Now, you could do this in StazOn normally, but we're using photopolymer stamps, so we don't want to use StazOn with this. We do want to use a water base because your StazOn will ruin your photopolymer stamps. I am going to, I don't think my basic gray is going to show up, so I'm going to use Memento Black on this one. I lied. Sorry. I pulled this out just in case. Okay, so I'm going to throw this right up here. Let me see. I want to put my frame on here just to see about how far down I have to go. I'm going to go down about here. And just hold it there. Now you do need to be careful when you're stamping on our foils because they're slippery. You want to lift straight up. And it's still blurred a little bit. Oh darn. I may be putting a white piece over that, and that's okay. We're going to put that to the side to dry. Okay, so we have that. We have this. I'm trying to think of what I had this piece for. I don't remember, so right now I'm going to put it to the side. You know, I designed this, and I put all my pieces, but I don't make the card. I have all my die cut pieces here. And what I did is I took the piece that I cut it out of, and I laid it down here. What I want to do now is make sure my stamps are clean, and they aren't all clean. And I am going to be putting these inside here. So when you do, when you do multiple images and you want to stamp it all at one time, this is a way that you can do it and make sure that your image is going to stamp into your flower. So we have the double one here, and we have the single flower here. So I'm just placing, oh my gosh, that's not what we want to do yet. I want to put my stamps. Okay, this feels like Monday to me. I know Diana's watching. She's probably kind of giggling a little bit when we do these and this happens. Oh my gosh. We kind of give a little giggle because, you know, we are just like you. We are normal stampers. Okay, so there we go. We have that on. I am going to put and press that plate down. Okay, so now when this stamps, those images are going to stamp there. So we're going to lift that up very carefully here. And now I am going to put my die cuts in there. Okay, this allows me to use a scrap piece of basic white. Number one, it allows me to cut without wasting cardstock. Because, you know, if I would have stamped these, I don't think I would have stamped them so I could have gotten all of these on this one piece of paper. So stick that in there. Now, if you want, you could take a little bit of a temporary glue and glue those down, but I'm not worried about that. Okay, I am going to ink this up with my basic gray. Okay, double check that since I pounded kind of hard, they didn't move. We're going to move those down right there. And I don't have my thing that I use. I don't recommend using your blocks because you scratch up your acrylic plate. Okay, just make sure we got good coverage there. Okay, I noticed that my lipstick didn't stamp like I wanted it to, so I am going to remove all of these. And because we're using the Stamparatus and we have our template in there, we can redo it. Okay, I'm just going to ink up that lipstick and do that again. So how about doing these, and you can color these to your friends' favorite colors of lipstick. I love red lipstick. My husband hates red lipstick. So we're going to use the same colors again. So we are going to use our soft seafoam for the leaves. Just coloring them in there like that. Let's take our petal pink and we're going to start with our light. I want to do the fine tip ends, and I'm going to do the flower this time in all of the light because when it blooms, it is a little bit lighter than the closed in bud, right? So color those two in, and it's very, very light. And then we're going to color the bud with the darker, and I'm going to put just a little bit of darkness in to the flower, not much. And the same thing with this one, just dabbing it. I don't worry about coloring it and being perfect. I am not a perfect stamper, which I have proven time and time again with you guys. Okay, now we have the perfume. With the perfume bottle, I want to make the label the dark petal pink. So we around the edge. So we're just going to color that in very quickly. And you could use your Stampin' Write markers if you had this. Very carefully though, because we are using a water base to stamp. And I just kind of scribbled that on there. We're going to leave the rest. We're going to take our Wink of Stella once again and do around the edge for our where our perfume is. Okay, lipstick. Okay, this is so much fun because this is where you can really personalize. I am going to use the small smoky slate for the barrel because those are usually silver. And I'm going to not color the center. I am going to take my color lifter to blend that out a little bit. Okay, so it's going to leave the edges darker. When we get to this, I am going to use a dark color. I'm going to use our dark polished pink, I think. I want this to be stand out. So once again, I'm going to color the edges and the bottom. I'm going to take a look at where that light streak is, and I'm going to take that light streak all the way down. Okay, and you're going to notice I didn't color that really solid. I am now going to take the light, I've got a bunch of colors here, the light polished pink. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to use the dark smoky slate for right in here. And remember that light spot. Okay, I'm going to take my color lifter again. And with the color lifter, you can go from color to color, and it doesn't hurt it at all. And I'm not going all the way to the edge this time because I do want those edges darker. Okay, and that's blended in right there. Okay, now this is where you can have some fun. Your girlfriend's favorite color. My girlfriend's favorite color is dark flirty flamingo. It may not be, but we are pretending. Once again, remember that light line right there. Take our color lifter. Now our color lifter not only lifts some color up, but it kind of blends into that center. Now I do want that a little bit darker. I want this to be a dark pink. There we go. Now, I didn't quite get that on there right, so I am going to trim off some of this, and that's okay. If that happens to you, all you have to do is go around and trim it up a little bit. Don't fret about it. Okay, now this is a sparkly lipstick. So guess what we're adding? We're adding some Wink of Stella. And I'm going to go ahead and bring that Wink of Stella down to that metal. Okay, so let's begin assembling this. And I am probably going to fix my opportunity. And I also have one of our vellum square doilies. Okay, like I said, I don't quite remember. I think this was going to go on the back. I think this was going to, yes. And I want to emboss this piece too. You're not going to see much of it. Didn't I tell you that if I said I was done with my cut and emboss machine, there would be something else I was supposed to do? Now we're not going to see much of this one. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the flourishing one again. Because it's going to add the most texture to it. Pull this over here, grab my gray plate. It didn't run away, it didn't hide, so I see it right away. Pull that through. Okay, move all of that again. Okay, we're going to make this work. This did blur. I am going to do that on a piece of white or perhaps even petal pink. Now I'm going to add this to here and see how you just see very little of that. So we are going to be turning that like this. So we're going to go ahead and add this to our base. Now when you add a deep, like a 3D embossing folder like this, you definitely want to use your liquid glue. The reason being is you want to make sure it doesn't fall off and you get in all those crevices also. Okay, let's put this right on here. And oops, this measures the same as the card base. So it wasn't supposed to happen that way. I actually wanted it a little bit smaller. That's okay. We're going to add this a little bit smaller. Now we're adding it onto the deep embossing folder. So we are going to just add this here. And both of these cards are pretty quick. And oh, I got some, look at, I have black on my thumb and I got some black. That's okay, just another opportunity. Okay, so very little of that card base is shown. And the reason why I want to add it anyways is I don't like embossing the front folder all the time, especially with deep things. So now I have really messed up here. I am going to see if I can, because I just got this memento all over. I must have had memento, but it's going to wipe off. Let's see if this one will wipe off. Oh my gosh, look at that. Okay, so if you stamp with memento on your foil paper, you can wash it and it's all okay, you guys. Oh my gosh, so there's another tip that I wasn't planning on. So I'm going to take my frame, and how many of you are laughing at me? That's okay, laugh with me, don't laugh. Don't laugh at me, laugh with me. right? So I am going to add a border of this liquid glue because I want to cover up that opening with this foil. I'm going to press it down. I am going to grab my silicone mat because I'm going to have to press, oops, quite a bit on this, and it is moving on me. So we're going to press down. Okay, I have to hold this a minute or else it's not going to stick. Okay, so there we go. Now, I know that liquid glue doesn't come off real good, but we'll get it. Okay, so we have that. We're going to move our silicone mat. We are going to turn this upside down and we are going to adhere our dimensionals to our frame. Let's grab our Take Your Pick tool. How many of you, tell me, love creating more or have tried creating more than one card with the same products? That's something that I challenge myself quite a bit, especially when I do like my online classes and that, because I know not everybody has everything. So if I limit the ink pads to 1 or 2 ink pads, this is helping hold that on. And using the same stamp set and the same papers. You know, you can get so many different looks. Be surprised. Okay, we're going to do this up there. So that's just helping secure that. And now we're going to do some right up the middle. I love dimensionals. If I am going to have something stand out, I want to make sure that it stands out. Okay, we're going to add these to our card base. Here. Good thing I had die cut everything out. This would have taken me even longer. Okay, so we have those. We're almost done here. I am going to put this straight up and down. So remember, I said we're not going to see all those edges. It's just pinking out the outside. So if you wanted to, you could have cut a smaller square out of the inside if you want to do some paper saving. Okay, we're going to grab all of these. My fingers are all sticky. Okay, and we're going to start laying this out. I think we're going to put these here. I'm going to take my doily and I'm going to cut it in half to begin with, and it might end up being a little bit smaller. And I'm just going to follow the edge of the design right here. So I'm cutting off those 2 corners. Okay, so we have a rectangle. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing along the top here. Okay. Just a couple clicks, a couple snips. We're going to add that there. I am going to take, oh, sorry, my blushing bride, not blushing bride, I'm sorry, petal pink, and my blending brush, and I'm going to add a little bit of color to this. I want it to stand out just a little bit. Now you do have to be careful because this does take a little bit longer to dry on there. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going for the kind of the shabby chic kind of a look. So we are going to adhere this down here. And I'm just going to take my liquid glue, put a couple dots because we're going to be putting stuff on top of it to hold it down. There we go. There's 3 little dots. I don't want to go right off the corner. I don't want that to match there. I want it here. And we are going to begin putting these on. And once again, I am using my liquid glue and put this right up here, fill up the space a little bit. going to help hold it down. On our lipstick, we are going to use some dimensionals to add more interest and layers to this. And it looks like I'm going to need a mini one for the top because I don't want to cut down a large one. Here we go. Get that up there. We aren't using the ribbon on here for this one. Instead, we use the doily. And we're going to put this right, oh dear, here. And that is going to, it's taking a while to stick, but it will eventually stick. Let's grab our flowers. And I think I'm going to put those up there. And I'm just going to use a dimensional for that. That little blunder there. And we're going to put this one in here. And I am going to use a mini dimensional on one side. And then on the other side, I'm going to glue it right down. Do you guys, have you ever tried doing that? Where you want something to stick up, but you don't want the whole thing to stick up? You know, it doesn't all have to stick up. And it will hold. Okay, we're going to stick this right in here, peeking out of there. Like that. Then for our words, we have to grab a piece of basic white and let's stamp our Hello Fabulous. And I can do this one in the basic gray because I'm not worried about that. We could do a happy birthday up there and make this a fun birthday card for a friend. Let's trim that out. Once again, we're going to be moving our paper around as we cut, not our scissors. You get a better flow on your cutting, not so many jagged ends. Yeah. Never stop on a curve. Okay, that's the biggest point I can give you when you're fussy cutting out your words. Okay, I am going to go ahead and use dimensionals for my words. Just because I don't have the patience right now for it to dry. Okay, put that one on there. See what you guys are saying. Anything? I have to check to see how many hearts I got during this. Hi, Denise. Welcome. So, do our Hello Fabulous up in this corner. I could also do a happy birthday. So there is that card. We could also add a few of our matte dots. I think it needs a couple. I think on this one though, I'm not going to go with the gray. I think on this one, I want the vanilla. The vanilla will help them stand out, even though they're a little bit different than the white, but not be so stark as the white. There we go. Right there. So 2 cards today. We have this card here, and I threw the other card way away, and this one here using this wonderful stamp set. Flip you all around. Say goodbye to everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you get those products off that last chance list. There is a lot of stuff that has already sold out. And until next time, everybody, happy stamping!